Hey guys, welcome. I'm hoping with this video that I'm going to give you a more clear picture of how the game of life works. And also, I'm about to debunk some of the concepts that are perhaps mystified by different branches of spirituality. So let's dive right in. First of all, how can you be consciousness in the container of this universe and be you, me, and everybody else at the same time, but being only one consciousness? So imagine a hall of mirrors, like a room with many, many mirrors, and they're all facing each other. So inside of each mirror you would see then infinite reflections of all of the other mirrors. This is a room in which consciousness deploys itself and then crystallizes into all these like sub mirrors. So each mirror holds one individuality and they're like infinite ones. So every individuality is a reflection of one mirroring itself in a room of 12, and then in each of 12 you have infinite reflections down the line. So it's kind of like the best explanation that I can give at this moment, but understand that you as an individual, you're just one of these facets inside of this hall of mirrors, and you're interpreting reality based on your own information set. So this makes you an individual. Now, in the information set is your individual memory. This can also be called subconscious, this can also be called karma. Individual set of memories is helping you navigate the experience of the world, and you remember what you experienced. Now, hope that makes sense. Now, there is two types of forces that are dominant in the game of life, and people call them like love and fear. That's good enough, because even if I go into the wordings like the Christ and Satan, we start to expect like a Jesus type of guy with a white cloak, and then I don't know, like a dark prince with a turtleneck. And so, Christ and Satan, they are not actually guys, right? They are more like two principles that are integral to the functioning of the game. And basically, so let's just call them the light and the dark, whatever. They are actually not, even in the experience of the game, you will see them as an opposition. Like one will lead you into crystallization and love, and the other will like dissolve you and lead you to entropy, death. So you want to follow the path of light because why? You can optimize your life and you will feel better. So if you have fear and love and you do not overcome fear, then you're being stifled. Your ability to move and make choices, empowered choices within this reality becomes stifled. And the more fear or trauma that you accumulate and do not overcome, then what? You're dying. Okay, you're being eaten by this entropy. Instead, if you overcome fear with power of love, right, then you're unifying, you're feeling nicer and nicer and nicer and blissful, you're unifying with everything and everyone, and there's more manifestation, cooperation happening, so less entropy, more symmetry or crystallization, so more order, more functioning. So the Christ increases the potential to live and increase the order, and Satan increases the entropy and decrease your possibility to live and express and create and connect. So now, a little bit of just demystifying also with these two principles. Let me give you a really simple example of how your individuality, so your subconscious, your individual energetic memory, and your thoughts can become programmed by constricting or negative thought form. Okay, Now, I'm also gonna like close this up in a non-dual approach and kind of see where you can have no actually fear of the dark, not even clinging to the light, but you can like understand them both, and then you can use this engine as something that is just integral to the game to propel yourself towards life, okay, and lowering the entropy and going into the higher frequency. You need to be acknowledging the fear, right? So you need to actually observe the choice between fear and love, or creativity and so let's say, very basic thing. Language, very ordinary situation. We have a kid, and then somebody was saying to my kid, you can't. And so I'm like, okay, so discernment now. If we program this child with this negative, it's a curse, it's a negative program, okay? So curse or a spell just means that all the words are programming your memory. Okay, so let's kind of like demystify that. Thoughts are, it is like the Matrix, and the thoughts are little programs. They're running through your little computer subset. The universe is a larger computer, so all of the information, the thoughts and emotions, they're streams of data. You have two streams of data. One make you feel, wow, happy. The other make you feel constricted, right? So when I tell you can't do something, I am making you feel constricting. Maybe I'm not trying to, maybe I'm performing now the role of Satan unknowingly. I'm like just repeating something that I have been told. You can't do that. And then you become constricted, right? So I'm saying, how about we raise this kid telling him, you can't, what would be the way to reach that? Like if he was trying to get something and he can't reach it, or it's not available in the situation and he's wanting that. So how about telling him, well, this is not here, so it's not available that you could grab it right now in the physical reality, but in what way to get it? See, this calls in for his to activate, so it's an open path of opportunity. Now this little example I will be rolling about in this video because it's very crucial. You can apply this to everything. Most of all, applying this to the rule of reality, that by the assumption that your desire is divine, okay, and that you can have something and can achieve everything, you are now inspired by the Spirit. Whereas if you're witnessing something in the physical reality not being there, and you become imprisoned in that appearance, you become the victim of, the devil. There's no devil. You become the victim of the appearance of the physical subset of reality. Because reality is quantum, and the physical subset of reality is actually rendering an architecture, a constellation of your beliefs. And so the physical reality is spirit condensed as matter, condensed in something that seems to be not movable. Now, this is a very intelligent system. This is not like Satan rules the material world and he wants to kill you and like eat you. See, again, Satan is not a person that's conspiring against you. You are endowed with the ability to learn, discern, choose, love, express yourself in creative ways. So every time you feel fear and you feel that you're a victim of the circumstances, it is a lesson for you to learn how to think outside of the circumstances. Think outside of the box. If you believe that you are disempowered by the circumstances, then you're thinking inside of the box, and that box, that physical reality, becomes a prison. And you may call yourself a realist, and you may complain, but then you're becoming the victim of your own mind because you are taking for granted an ill logic. Ill logic can sound logical. Now I can say, I'm ill. I'm going to die. And I can go to a doctor, and doctor can give me like another curse. He can give me like here's you have something, and you're going to live for another 6 months. And I may accept that. But that is limiting my capacity as creator God, because we are consciousness. We are all creator God. Okay, we are all, whatever we call gods. There's no actual, God is just a word that we use. But we are all the creative agency of this universe. Okay, there's no God per se. Again, words are placeholders for abstractions and sometimes misconceptions, because we need to analyze what we think. We are the quantum field that expresses itself as the metaphysical and physical reality both. If we are stuck in the experiencing of physical reality and we determine our logic by what appears in the physical, that we are trapped inside of the box. We are trapped inside of the box, and we can then interpret reality in a way that sounds logical. I can't because there is no money. I'm hungry because there is no food. Well, how about you get up and ask yourself as God, creative agency, to manifest whatever you need to get from point A to point B to XYZ to your destination, and then watch the synchronicities create the thought. The quantum will then crystallize as another physical reality that will give you your hero's journey. So you are well endowed. But if you sit and complain because there isn't something already available in what is showing up as the physical reality, you're trapped in the box. And then you will die because you will loop in this logic that is an ill logic. Because it sounds logical when you say, okay, we have no food and so I'm hungry and so I'm ill. And so there no money, so we live in poverty. So, okay, yeah. You are creative agency that is manifesting this whole universe and everybody else at the same time. So you are empowered to evolve. This is what you do all the time as everyone. You're just like reinterpreting your circumstance and changing the physical appearance based on your ideas. And your ideas are ideas of the universe. You are that one holistic creative agency organizing itself, and there is like a multiplayer simulation with a lot of individuals, but everything works together. So when you're following the desire of your heart and the inspiration, then everything clicks together, everything comes together. And sort of comes together effortlessly, but it's just the fate. The fate, the inner inspiration, the inner knowing that overcomes the depression of just observing something not being here in the physical, and then creating a feedback loop based on that physical interpretation. This is how we got trapped in the box. This is how we die. This is where we need to evolve out of the physical perception into the nature of this reality, which is mind over matter. Basically, the matter, the material, is an arrangement that is very cool. Okay, now the logic of the whole thing. Satan or something like, underground that dissolves everything, well, it's also the mother. So actually this principle is not like evil. And this is where you have to escape the logic of like dark and light being good and evil. Yeah, it's on one hand it's not good for you, so you can discern that something is not good for you, or if you interact in terms of like bad faith, saying to someone you can't, and like somebody saying you can't, you can understand that you can have discernment that you do not accept that you can't. Instead of that, with discernment you can say, okay, let's see how can I? It is not apparent to me, it is not obvious to me in which way I can, but I will not stay with this presumption that something cannot. So, matter, is a crystallization of spirit. So you can have like the god of light, you can call it Ra, or light, sun, and matter, darkness. They work together. See, the divine masculine, divine feminine, they work together. They each serve a purpose. The matter will give a restriction. It will become crystallized in a physical form, condensed. So, consciousness, which is you, can experience itself in a crystallized form. Your consciousness, in which both light and dark appear. So this is the non-dual perceiving of reality. You are awareness. In this awareness, in this field of awareness, quantum field, objects arise. Like this object is a crystallization of consciousness, and it takes both light and the dark principles that are also appearances. They are agencies, and they're actually one agency. So this is like seeing that, you can call this trinity or non-duality, seeing that this field of awareness that I'm experiencing, the light and the dark, they just appear as different pixels. They're actually one pixel that can that's actually always creating this momentum, and it's crystallizing the awareness as objects. Now, this here, object, we interpret with the material mind. If you can go into your third eye, your higher mind, you will see that there is nothing here but the dance of awareness start to dance, crystallizing itself at light and dark, and then building itself into molecules, crystallizing itself into physical objects. So everything is actually light and dark dancing together. For transformation of reality, there needs to be also the entropy, the recycling, what we call death. So actually, the spiritual game is not about escaping dark, or I don't like these names, Christ and Satan. They are names that we give to principles, and then we start to interpret them as people, right? So these two principles, they're actually dancing together inside of consciousness. You are consciousness, so you're never born, you never die. You're just crystallizing for yourself this plug, and you're crystallizing for yourself a body, and you're crystallizing for yourself thoughts, and you're crystallizing for yourself thoughts that become matter. Out of yourself. See, matter and spirit, they are not outside of the awareness. They are crystallizations of the awareness itself. Now, in my other videos, subscribe to my channel if you're into this. I guide you, and like here, let's go into it for a minute. Notice the spaciousness. There is a mind interpreting like objects in space, and this is the relationship of myself as this body individual to this. But if you notice the depth and you just look at the depth, you will see that all of this is awareness. And then the hand and this object and this, everything is just a sensation inside of the awareness. So when you're noticing, when you're observing the awareness itself in the depth of space, then you can ask yourself, are this space and awareness one and the same? And if you ponder that, you will see that the awareness and space are one and the same. And then you can ask yourself, are these sensations that appear in the space of awareness one with the awareness? And you will see that on this level of perceiving, it's all one. It's the screen. And the screen is then crystallizing itself. The awareness is the screen, the awareness is the space, and the awareness is the plug. And everything else for that matter. So this will shift your perspective from like this first person interpretation where you're like, I am this, and then your mind is giving you, inserting these filters of augmented reality where the mind is now interpreting objects and relationship to the objects, and our language is constructed like this. My name is this and I have an umbrella. And this becomes the dual interpretation. So I am this body and I have an umbrella. Right? But actually I am awareness in which the space appears, in which the body is crystallized and the umbrella is crystallized and everything else is crystallized. Right? So there's a switch to that level of perceiving. And then also at the same time you can have that level of perceiving of the unity field or the screen, and you can have the level of perceiving of my body is interacting with this object, and then I'm putting this into like the holes in the wall, so that's another thing, that's a plug, and then I'm plugging this in. So that's functional. Duality is functional, but we can get trapped in duality, and we can also get trapped in the non-duality because yes, I can come out of this dual-based experience, and so a little something about me, I was fascinated with this. So I meditated. And upon meditating, what would happen, this reality appearance would dissolve and my body would completely disappear. So all of the objects would just like disappear, like computer screen or something. They would go out of the... And so thoughts that I'm having, they will also disappear, and I was just the awareness without any context. I could still feel myself as me, but I couldn't speak or think, or I didn't have a body or a world. And then even the screen itself would collapse into just like, there would be just one dot. There would be no space. And from this perspective, feeling myself, I could realize that there would be like a will inside of this unmanifested me, that when this will wanted to like check something out, like, or understand this experience, then like the space would come back into existence, and all of the objects and my body, first person self, everything would recrystallize back into this, so I could like experience myself in this way, being a human inside of the room with different objects that do different things. And so the way for the being that has no feature, form, space or energy to experience itself is by coming into the manifestation of space, form and energy, and they're all just projections. Like when you are having a dream and you're dreaming yourself, you're dreaming your body inside of the dream, and then people come and they interact with you, they're all crystallizations of your mind in a dream, you're just the observer self. Having a dream body and then high-fiving with different people or getting scared by somebody else, that's also just a crystallization within your mind. So I meditated and I came to this experience like, whoa, everything disappears, and then I come back and I'm like, the fuck, everything just disappeared. And now I'm back in, like, I can just go from this experience of nothing back into experience of me as a first person. So it was hard for me to generate thinking patterns because I was so like a plant or an animal that's empty of language, empty of thoughts. Nothing has meaning. It's just a dream screen. Now I can shift back into that. And this field, this unified field or no field, these different levels of experience, these different perceptions, perspectives of reality, they're all you. If you come into the emptiness, the silence, it has a gravity of its own. You will shift from thinking and it will just feel like a very deep peace. It becomes hard to follow the trains of thoughts, thinking patterns. It becomes sort of pointless to speak. Now I have to make an effort from this space of the void of form. This experience, in this perspective that is void of form, you have to make an effort to go back into your body, go back into the mind, start talking blah 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 again. Because it's so relaxing, it feels like, I guess, shooting heroin or something. So I guess I'm gonna finish this transmission here because I became a little bit too relaxed. And I have no attachment to where I was going with this activation when I was in the first person, having this transmission, running towards a goal, delivering this. Everything kind of fades out. Maybe this is also interesting to you. Maybe you want to hang out in the switch and do instead of hyper-activating, hyper-alive, do the Eckhart Tolle type of transmission. See, in this deep state of relaxation, when you're noticing the emptiness, my body starts to, all of my bodies, because you have these like different layers of bodies, so you have energy bodies, they start to harmonize. Okay, so I will end this by saying that if you want to actually learn how to meditate in this way, that you shift your perspective first into the emptiness and then allow enter the meditation, the deepest actually state of meditation, and then allow yourself to stay there. You would not need to then struggle with attempts to meditate, but like nervous or agitated because there are sensations in your nervous system that are like coming into your field of observation. I would suggest to just get out of the first person altogether, dissociate from all of the sensations, come into the supreme peace. And then your subconscious and your body and all of your bodies, they will harmonize and defragment, but you don't have to be in the struggle of like trying to reach that place where you meditate while you're still immersed into your first person avatar. It's like if you would be playing a video game and you turn off the screen and the video game stops. Well then, whatever you're doing in the video game now is like happening automatically, but you're not aware of that because you're just aware of the empty screen. I have a product in my link tree that's called 0 Point Essentials, which is an ongoing course database. So I'm teaching you how to meditate and experience these states of being, and how to connect these states of being with your other layers of reality experiencing. That's the first person immersion and other things. They're available at my link tree, 0 Point Essentials. The price is around $200. Is the best way to have an integrated self-realization of the quantum field, the emptiness, and all of the layers of this experiential reality. And this is an ongoing course, meaning once you purchase the course, I will be adding more and more meditations and videos, probably forever, because this is a very deep and intricate subject, so you will have a lifetime access to many meditations. So I think it's well worth the price. There we go. Alright. By you other individualities of this one infinite sea of consciousness, join me, like this video, subscribe if you want to also know how to manifest quantum shift, experience stable enlightenment, and all this stuff. We can have some fun together. I hope I'm bringing some fun into the field of metaphysics and like whatever this is. I try to make it as playful as I can. Alright. See you on the flip side.